So Tna Impact returned to Orlando, Florida. The show starts with the former members of the now defunct Dixieland walking backstage. Ethan Carter III, Rockstar Dud, the Glorified Jobbers, and Zema Ion. Ethan says that it's Robert Roode's fault that Dixie is no longer in charge. Roode appears and they all come at him, jawing from different directions. He tells them to can it and says that Dixie is the only reason why they lost because of the so-called insurance policy Bully Ray turning on her. Roode says that they should go after Bully Ray when he arrives. So the initial start of the Robert Roode Bully Ray program begins. So then we see Montel Porter come to the ring. Porter says that Dixieland is done and he's ready to do work as the new Power Lord. He says that he doesn't understand why Bully Ray helped him take complete control, but he says that Bully Ray's prior actions will have no effect on how he's perceived. Porter says that his platform will be based on the wrestlers doing the right things, being allowed to express any gripes that they may have, and dealing with punishment placed on them for any defiance. Then Magnus comes to the ring. Magnus says that Porter's platform is crap, and Porter equates that thought by saying that the way Magnus has been holding on to the belt has been the same. Magnus says that while Dixie failed in her quest to remain in power, he got the job done in order to retain the title. He decides to introduce the reason why he's still champion. And Abyss comes to the ring with his new mask, which looks ridiculous. Magnus says that he doesn't see Abyss as a circus attraction, but as a powerful ally who is fueled by the dollars, as long as he pays him. He tells Porter that their differences don't mean anything when the mentality to grab the cash and the juice is the same. Porter says that Magnus was getting whipped by Samoa Joe until Abyss helped him save the gold. He says that Joe should have the opportunity to deal with his unsettled issue in the ring, so he calls Joe out. Joe comes to the ring, favoring his midsection, courtesy of Abyss's signature. Porter says that the reason why Joe isn't busting heads at this time is that he's going to follow Porter's platform. He says that Magnus will defend the world title against Joe next week. Porter also says that Joe will face Abyss right now, so that leads into Samoa Joe versus Abyss. Decent match. The match ends with Abyss coming off the ropes and Joe executing a snap power slam. Joe charges Abyss and hits him with a knee in the corner. He tries to lift Abyss onto the top turnbuckle in an attempt to do the muscle buster, but his injury prevents that. Joe ducks a blow by Abyss and headbutts him. He goes to the middle rope and comes off, but Abyss catches him in a chokehold and delivers a choke slam. He leaves the ring and pulls out his signature from underneath the ring. Abyss goes back into the ring and heads toward Joe, but Eric Young comes into the shot, leaps onto the top rope, and nails Abyss with a missile dropkick. The ref calls for the bell. The winner of the match by disqualification, Abyss. Young throws punches and then drop kicks Abyss, sending him out of the ring. Young inserted himself into this situation at Lockdown when he confronted Magnus and Abyss backstage. Now Young will likely face Abyss again with the possibility of a title shot against Magnus. If he's going to blame Magnus for Abyss's action, that's where it's headed. So then we see Jeremy Borash backstage. Borash says that he's standing by to interview Bully Ray. Suddenly Borash turns his head and stares, and we see his distraction come into the shot. Angelina Love appears. She asks Borash if he's happy to see her. Then she walks off. So, Angelina Love is back. And now we can talk about a Beautiful People reunion. So then we see Borash again backstage waiting for Bully Ray. And this time he's interrupted by Jeff Willow Hardy, Jeff Hardy Willow, whomever. So then we had the women's match. Gail Kim, accompanied by Lady Tapa, versus Brittany, better known on the independent circuit as Santana Garrett. Before the match, we see a video profile on Brittany in which she says that she idolizes Madison Rayne. Short burst of telegraphing. Decent match. The match ends with Gail picking up Brittany in a fireman's carry position, but Brittany slips out and executes a Russian leg sweep. She delivers punches to Gail in the corner, but Lady Tapa comes into the ring. Tapa charges, but Brittany moves out of the way, causing Tapa to crush Gail with a body avalanche. As Gail stumbles forward, Brittany comes up behind her, pushes her into Tapa, and rolls Gail up for the 3. The winner of the match, Brittany. After the match, Gail shoves Tapa. Tapa shoves Gail down to the mat. Gail slaps Tapa. Gail jumps up into Tapa's arms, but Tapa takes her down to the mat and hits her with punches that she needs to work on. The Gail-Tapa union is hasta la bye-bye. Brittany had an okay debut, but the name sucks. Note to TNA. It's okay sometimes to use the names of independent wrestlers. Lady Tapa wrestled for 2 years on the independent circuit with the same name before coming to TNA. If it's that simple for Tapa, it should be that simple for Santana Garrett. The full focus should have been on Brittany's debut, but instead she served as a secondary piece to the bigger angle, the dissolving of the Gail-Tapa relationship. I never thought that they should have been together, but I don't know why I'm hearing some people calling this a Tapa face turn. Heel versus heel can work, and Gail can make this work because she will give Tapa the solid performance that she needs. So then we see Bully Ray walking backstage. Rockstar Dud appears and tells him that he's going to regret his double cross to Dixie. Bully Ray moves toward Dud, but then he gets ambushed by Ethan Carter III, the Glorified Jobbers, and Zema Ion. Ethan stands over Bully Ray and tells him that he brought shame to the Carter clan before punching him. Then Dud chokes Bully Ray with a chain. Robert Roode gets in Bully Ray's face and says that now the price gets paid for fucking up his chance to become a part owner. Roode tells the bunch to put Bully Ray on his knees. He picks up a whiteboard and hits Bully Ray in the head. Roode repeats, "Don't fuck with me." Now if I could replace the Glorified Jobbers with Bad Influence, replace Zema Ion with Austin Aries, and remove Rockstar Dud, this segment would have been better than good. Does anyone still think that Roode should be a face? Can you shut up about that now? So then we had a non-title match. The Glorified Jobbers versus Sanada and Tigre Uno. Before the match, we see Sanada backstage with Muda. Via subtitles, Muda tells Sanada that he not only represents Wrestle One, but Japanese wrestling in general. He tells Sanada that it was difficult for him to be accepted as a Japanese wrestler in the United States and that it may still be hard for Sanada to make it here, despite how wrestling has changed. As far as the match, solid match. Only because of the performances of Sanada and Tigre Uno. The match ends with Sanada and Tigre whipping Robbie E into the ropes. Robbie E comes off the ropes and Sanada and Tigre execute a standing reverse flapjack. They give Robbie E a wishbone and they follow that with a double drop kick to his head. Sanada and Tigre deliver a double suplex to Mr. Duh, and he lands on top of Robbie E. The jobbers move to the outside, and Tna hits him with a somersault plancha off the ring apron. Tna goes back into the ring and stands by the ropes. Tigre comes off the opposite ropes, and Tna lifts him, propelling him over the top rope and causing him to blast the jobbers with a somersault plancha. Robbie E and Mr. Duh get thrown back into the ring, and Tna and Tigre go to the top ropes at opposite corners. They hit the jobbers with missile drop kicks. Tigre takes himself and Mr. Duh out of the ring with a standing double knee catapult, while Tna goes to the top rope and comes off with a moonsault. He pins Robbie E for the 3. The winners of the match, Tna and Tigre Uno. Tna and Tigre Uno had an exciting follow-up to their impressive lockdown appearances, and they did their best to try to make the glorified jobbers look as good as they could, but that miracle wasn't going to happen. Even though we saw a focus on X Division wrestlers on this show, hopefully there will be a focus on the division itself soon. Tna and Tigre made an effective team, and they'll likely get their title shot. But in addition to Tigre Uno, other contenders to Tna should be in the contender development stage now, and they should be seen on Impact. In response to the conversation between Tna and Muta, some people have said that Tna needs to learn how to speak English in order to get over. No, he doesn't. His talent will handle the majority of how he gets over. Seeing the subtitles reflected something different that we don't normally see. Even if he had a manager double as a translator for promos, it would still allow Tna to convey his thoughts on himself and his opponent, so Tna can get over without speaking English. One last thing, TNA. Think about casual wrestling fans turning the channel and stopping on Impact during this match. Then think about that ridiculous horn going off during the match. And then think about those same fans switching the channel. Think about all of that. So then we see Bully Ray trying to recover from his attack by Rude and his bunch. So then we see Madison Rayne and Velvet Sky backstage. Velvet puts Madison over on her performance from Lockdown. Madison tells Velvet that Angelina has returned. Velvet looks at her and says, quote, "Angelina Love?" unquote. No, Velvet. Angelina Jolie. So then we see the glorified jobbers and Zema Ion backstage bitching about losing to Tna and Tigre Uno. Bully Ray bursts into the room and beats up all 3. And Robbie E called Tna and Tigre chumps. Now Bully Ray goes on his search for the other members of the bunch. So then we see Sam Shaw acting as if he's talking to Christy Hemme, but he's not. He's likely talking to his mannequin from the secret room in his apartment. He sees the cameraman and chases him off. Okay. Then we see Willow again. Okay. So then we see Rockstar Dud and Ethan Carter III preparing to pay some sort of tribute to Dixie, and they make their way to the ring with a huge photo of Dixie Carter. Who cares? So then we see Samoa Joe backstage looking for Eric Young. Joe tells him that he gets why Young wants to go for Abyss, but doing so affects what he needs to do. He tells Young to stay out of his lane, but Young says that he's not worried about that because he has to repair the issue with Abyss. Young tells Joe that during the world title match next week, he's going to be chained to Abyss. This was an interesting tinge as to whether this could lead to a match between Joe and Young. I don't think it will, but it was interesting to see. So then we have this Dixie Carter tribute, which was a waste of time. When Hogan's daughter was in TNA, I would always mention the buzzing sound that I would hear when she spoke because of how annoying and irritating she was. When Rockstar Dud talks, it's a gurgling sound that I hear. It really doesn't matter whether I could hear him or not because nothing he says is entertaining anyway. To put this in the most painless way possible, Montel Porter makes a match between Dud and Willow for the show. Then he makes a match between Ethan and Robert Lashley for next week. This segment was nearly 15 minutes long, and this time could have been utilized much better. An X Division match between potential contenders to Sonata? What about James Storm and Gunner? Where was the follow-up to their match from Lockdown? Austin Aries in the ring for a match? This segment was garbage. So then we see Ethan backstage. Ethan says that he's going to rip up Robert Lashley's knee just as he did to Kurt Angle. Then Bully Ray appears, hitting Ethan from behind. He punches Ethan in the face and hits him with the whiteboard. Now Bully Ray searches for Robert Roode. So then we had a street fight. Sam Shaw versus Mr. Anderson. Shaw comes out, but then he leaves and comes to the ring with his mannequin. Mr. Anderson comes out and he's about to do his mic gimmick when Shaw blindsides him. Decent match. The match ends with Shaw suplexing Anderson outside the ring. Shaw tries to ram Anderson's head on the top of the apron, but Anderson stops it and rams Shaw's head instead. He throws Shaw back into the ring, but Shaw knees him in the midsection. Shaw attempts to send Anderson's head into the turnbuckle, but Anderson counters with an elbow. The two exchange blows, then Shaw comes off the ropes, but Anderson nails him with a clothesline. He follows that with a punch and then an elbow. Anderson executes a neckbreaker and follows that with a rolling fireman's carry slam. Shaw backs into the corner and Anderson turns his attention to Shaw's mannequin. Shaw begs him not to hit it, but Anderson kisses it. Anderson throws the mannequin at Shaw. Shaw catches it and places it down, but then he turns and Anderson pops him with the mic check. He gets the 3. The winner of the match, Mr. Anderson. This match was advertised as a street fight, but it wasn't. I don't get the need for Shaw to bring the mannequin to the ring. We get the obsession, but keep it in private mode. More importantly, Christy has to be a consistent part of the storyline in order for it to progress. She's at ringside for the match at Lockdown, but then she's absent from this one. Consistency. So then we see another King of the Night video featuring Kenny King. This is the most attention TNA has given to Kenny King in a while. So hopefully they will follow through and make him a major guy in the company. So then we see Angelina Love come to the ring. She says it feels good to be back in the company. Angelina says that she's smarter about things than she was before, and that Daddy always told her that one doesn't realize the value of something until it's no longer there. She says that meaning goes beyond the rapport with the fans and centers on her friendship with Velvet Sky. So she tells Velvet to come out, and Velvet comes to the ring. Angelina tells Velvet that she wanted to drop words on her before she made her exit last time. She says that Velvet is the reason why she got over and that her independent days were hard to deal with before she came to TNA and became part of the Beautiful People. Angelina tells Velvet that people are always saying that they should get back together and that she thinks that they should. Velvet says that she has been ambushed by all of this and tells Angelina that things are different now. She says that she's become her own person and that she was able to win the women's title by herself. Velvet says that she has to go to the next stage in her career, but Angelina says that they can accomplish more than they did before if they get back together. Velvet tells her that she'll get back with her on that. This segment dragged, and it could have taken place backstage and could have taken 2 minutes to do. So, where was Madison Rayne during this segment? Wasn't she a member of the Beautiful People? Madison's presence could have made this segment more interesting and start the speculation as to whom will turn heel. It won't be Madison, obviously, so either Angelina will turn on Velvet for choosing not to reform the Beautiful People, and then go after Madison for possibly influencing Velvet, which will involve going after the title, or Velvet will turn on Madison and reform the Beautiful People with Angelina Love. Either or. So then we had Willow versus Rockstar Dud. Willow squashes Dud but doesn't win the match because he uses his umbrella, and then after the match he injures Dud's knee. The only thing to say about this is at least TNA is not going to switch back and forth between Willow and Jeff Hardy as we normally see him. They are acknowledging that Willow is Jeff Hardy, and I will take that. It's better than TNA wanting everyone to pretend that they're two different people. So then we see Bully Ray come to the ring. Bully Ray says that it's surprising to him that his name is being chanted. He says that visuals of your time on Earth precede the day that you sign off for good. Bully Ray says that when Mr. Anderson drilled him into the coffin, he saw what his career had become. He says that he had planned to explain his actions from lockdown, but he was jumped by the Rude Bunch. Bully Ray says that if Dixieland had won the match, Rude would have become a Dixie clone, and he wasn't going to allow that. He wants to get it on and tells Rude to come out. Rude comes to the ring and they start brawling. But Bully Ray takes the advantage and punches Rude repeatedly before giving him an elbow that sends him to the mat. He leaves the ring and gets a table from underneath. He goes back in the ring and sets up the table. He turns and Rude catches him with a spine buster. Rude waits for Bully Ray to get up and then picks him up for an attempt at a fireman's carry cutter. Bully Ray elbows him in the face, escapes from Rude, and executes the Bully Cutter. Then he finishes Rude off with a power bomb through the table. Show ends. Is Bully Ray more entertaining as a face than as a heel? No, but I'll take it. Was his reason for turning face solid? No, but I'll take it. Why? Because it means that Rude did not turn face. Earlier, when the Rude Bunch jumped on Bully Ray, the best reason why this man should never turn face was shown. Rude was just meant to be a heel. Will TNA make the mistake of turning him one day? Likely. But could TNA surprise and allow the obvious to remain intact? Yes. And I'll take it. I'm Tazmart 2002, and that was my TNA Impact Analysis for March 13th, 2014. If you're listening to me on YouTube, please leave your comments below. Click the like or dislike button, and if you subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. If you're listening to me on the Wrestling News Talk Facebook page, you can leave your comments below and click the like button if you like what I've been saying. If you have any comments or questions about TNA or wrestling in general, you can reach me on Twitter, Tazmart2002, that's TAZMARK2002. And if your comments exceed the 140, get at me with an email, Tazmart2002@gmail.com. And be sure to watch the TNA Impact review that I do with Chuck P. live every Sunday morning at 11 o'clock Eastern Time on Chuck P's YouTube channel. And if you can't watch us live, you can always watch the archive. And make sure that you check out Chuck P's channel as well. Decent show. Decent show. The recent TNA Wrestle One night only pay-per-view, as well as the latest international talent signings to TNA, signify an important step in the new era. The three divisions that built the company, the Tag Team Division, the X Division, and the Women's Division, must return to their quality peaks in order for TNA to become competitive. TNA will always look to place the emphasis on bringing in independent talent within the United States. But if they put together a fluid mix of domestic talent and international talent for all three divisions, that will be the catalyst that reignites the company and makes it competitive. However, it must be done the right way. A specific meal can be prepared several different ways, but how you cook the meal will determine whether one likes it. I'm Tazmart 2002. Gone.